Hi, it's Ms. Mackenzie, your K-12 district teacher librarian, and this little demo is all about using the Gale Databases plus the Library of Congress website for Mr. Shinn's U.S. history research essay. All right, so let's hop on over here. So I always begin a research session with students asking them to articulate their topic plus 3 subtopics, which is really kind of sort of your thesis statement. And the whole point is at the beginning of the lesson, if you're not entirely sure what you want to say, because oftentimes we don't know what we don't know about a research topic, by the end of class, after just one dive into Gale, you should be able to answer this statement. And many of us have never used databases before. Databases are college and career ready. It's a college and career readiness skill. We go to the databases to find academic authoritative sources versus doing just general Google searches. And for Mr. Shinn's essay in particular, you need to cite at least 3 credible sources. So I always tell students that whenever a teacher or professor gives you a quantity or a number of sources you need in your essay, I always actually recommend finding double that number. And if you end up not using some, that's totally okay. And Mr. Shinn is also looking for at least 2 of those 3 as primary sources, and we'll talk about primary sources in just a second. So why do we use the databases? A database is a hub of curated articles that are appropriate for academic writing. So in high school and in college now, you should be using database articles and not just general web articles. You may have to use some web articles. And if and when you do, the ABCs of evaluating sources is one way that you can screen a web-based article to make sure that it's legit and appropriate, again, for academic research. So the A stands for, can you find, if you're looking at a web page and you're trying to evaluate it, the A stands for, can you actually find an author? If you can't find an author for an article on the web, that should be clue number 1 that it may not be appropriate for research. The B stands for, is the information unbiased or unopinionated? The C stands for, is it coming from a credible web domain? Some web domains are more credible or authoritative than others. So for example, anything that comes from an .edu stands for a website from an educational institution, and those are usually good. And then anytime you come across a .com, which is most websites, that .com stands for commercial, which means that someone, some way, somehow is making money off of that website or the information. So you have to scrutinize .coms. The D stands for, can you find a date? The E stands for, has someone actually edited or proofread the information before that author was able to publish it online? And I used to tell my English students when I taught English, you have to be able to say yes to at least 3 out of these 5 things to use a web article for academic research, okay? Oftentimes my students would say like, Miss Mackenzie, it's way easier to Google for something than to use the databases. And I was like, actually, you have to do more work. You have to vet the source, you have to proofread it and make sure it's reliable, credible, and then you have to do the citation yourself as well. So you actually end up doing more work. And then here's another, I like this graphic. It's showing us the difference between just Google web-based sources and like what you get when you go into any kind of database. Googling information is great. We all do it every day, all day long. It's a great way to start investigating a topic. You're getting a surface level understanding about that topic. But then again, for high school and college, academic research writing, you have to start consulting the databases and academic journals. And you'll get more targeted results. You'll get it's stronger search functions within the databases, and again, authoritative sources. So researching is a cyclical process, and really this lesson is just covering step 3, locating and accessing research. So I'm going to pop into Gale in just a second. I always teach students how to limit their search. Once you type your little search term in, you have to set limiters to narrow down the amount of information you're finding. And we'll limit by type, full text, and subject. And then using Control F is a super valuable tool when you're trying to skim articles. So we all hopped into the library database or website first. When you're at school on campus, you can get right into the Gale databases. When you're at home, you may need this username and password. All right, so here I am on the library website. I'm doing some editing to that website. Needs some work, but we're going to go down to under library literacy resources. We're going to click on Gale resources. These are the databases. And now this is all of Gale. So you can search everything Gale has to offer by doing a power search over here. I call these little hubs baby databases, but what Gale is doing is it's already setting filters for you. And there is a baby database called US History. So we're all going to click on that. So we're in the US History Gale baby database. All right. Now from this page, what you're going to do is just type your search term in at the top. I am pretending to research Sons of Liberty, American Revolution. So I'll click on that. And then here's my Gale database page. Actually, let me go out because that looks, I got more when I did a little bit of a broader search. Sons of Liberty. I'm just going to go with this first one right here. There we go. All right, so all of the content that was found in the databases for Sons of Liberty is kind of chunked into these blocks of information. So if you scroll down, these are all just blocks of the types of information that Gale discovered. And remember, we always refine our search by type, full text, and subject. So types are at the top. We are definitely searching for primary sources. So look, Gale has 10 right off the bat under Sons of Liberty. And then for high school research writing, some of these magazine articles are going to be great. The academic journal articles are going to be really meaty and long, but also really great. So you can choose really from any of these types of articles. But before I do that, I want to show you, we said we narrow our search by type, full text, subject. So full text is this box right here. You always want to make sure that check mark is there. It means that you're getting whole entire articles and not just like abstracts that you have to go out and find on the internet. So always check full text. And then here's the subject list. And what the subject list does is it takes your one topic, Sons of Liberty, and it's literally breaking it down into 50 to 60 different subtopics. Okay, and some of them are applicable, some may not be. But again, at the very beginning of class or anytime you're researching a topic, if you're not quite entirely sure what you can even say about the topic, you can just use subtopics from Gale. Again, we don't know what we don't know often when we research. And I would have my former English students straight up select their subtopics off of the Gale subject list. Because you click on one of those things and it's giving you straight up articles about that subtopic that you can open up and use for your research essay. Okay, so Gale is beautiful for conducting research. And then in addition to that, let me pop back out one more page if I can. How do I get out of that one? Give me a second. There we go. I think I was back up here. Yeah, no. There we go. All right. So in addition to that subject list right there, you can do the topic finder. And this is cool because it's giving you a visual graphic of your research topic, which is pretty cool. So again, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. I don't have any idea what the Sons of Liberty is or like what I want to say about the Sons of Liberty. This can visually help you narrow down your topic. And you'll find anything that looks interesting to you, click on it and it will zoom in and even break that topic down even further. And then on the right are articles. Okay, so we had a big topic, we narrowed it down, we did some clicking, and I've got a list of articles right in front of me. So we narrowed our search by, let me find my slide again, by type, full text and subject. And now I have an article open. So the next step is once you do some searching and narrowing and you're finding articles and skimming them to see if they're appropriate, and you're like, hey, I found this one, I think it looks pretty good. Your next step is to save it and cite it immediately. I always teach my students to do that. So we're going to just say like, oh yeah, this one's great. Let me show you Control F in the upper right-hand corner. It opens that search box. So you can type in keywords and phrases. Does this article have anything about, say anything about boycotting? How much does this article say about the Sons of Liberty? You see how it shows there are at least 6 references, and then inside of the article, it's highlighting where that search term appears. Super useful tool when you have big, long, like 30-page academic journal articles. Using Control F will help you decide if the article is appropriate to save before you even sit down to like read and begin highlighting and annotating things. Super, super useful tool. I use it all the time. All right, so let's say I'm like, this article's amazing. I want to use it for my research essay. Now we're gonna link up we're gonna link up Gale and Google. Okay, so we're linking our Google Drive to the Gale databases by in the upper right-hand corner, clicking on sign in with Google. It may ask you to select your Google account, but you know you're signed in when you see your first name up here, signed in Jennifer. So I know I've officially linked. Now you are going to, there are many ways you can do this, but I think this button right here is the easiest. You click send to Google Drive. So I click that button. It says document has been sent, and bam, it's now in your Google Drive. So then I always tell students, you need to actually go find that article, and Gale should have automatically created a bright orange highlighted folder for you. And you open up that folder and there's that article. How amazing is that? Once it loads, it's now a Google Doc, so you can highlight, take notes, annotate, all that jazz. And then at the very bottom of the page, it always includes the MLA citation for you right there. Sometimes you have to do a little fixing, like the first letter of every word in your title should be capitalized per MLA, but you can go ahead and fix that when you're ready to. You can grab the citations off of this page. So if you click cite, that's where you get MLA. You may have to use APA for some work in this class. There are a million different, over 100 different citation styles. MLA is most common for the arts and humanities and English class. When you go to college, depending on what field of study you're in, a lot of you may have to switch over to APA citation. Okay. But we went into the databases. We typed in our search term and did filtering down to a couple of narrow articles. We used Control F to skim an article to see if it was appropriate. Then we zipped the article into our Google Drive by linking up our Google account to Gale. And then, yeah, so we have one article ready for this paper. So the next thing I'm going to show you all how to do is we're going to head over to, and there's many more things we can do with the Gale databases, but that's just your basic, how to find, save, and cite. The next thing we're going to do is pop into the Library of Congress to try to find some more primary sources. So we were able, every single student in Mr. Shinn's class was able to find primary sources through Gale. That's going to be your easiest access to primary sources, so use what you found. But you also should explore the Library of Congress because it is our nation's premier library located in Washington, D.C. And they house a myriad of gorgeous, beautiful primary sources. And a primary source is a first-hand account of an event. So examples are manuscripts, archives, letters, diaries, speeches, oral histories. Librarians love oral histories. Anytime you interview someone, you are bringing into this world or giving birth to a primary source. I love oral histories. So we clicked over to the Library of Congress website, and it's going to be a little bit more, not as streamlined as finding primary sources in Gale, but everyone went to the upper right-hand corner and typed in their research topic and discovered what the Library of Congress had for us. And we were talking in class about sometimes you might have to get creative with finding your primary sources. So the Sons of Liberty, I had to ask, are a group of individuals that were kind of a little rogue or renegade. They included individuals like John Adams and Paul Revere. And so that was their group's name. So to find, you may have to, again, alter your search term. So if you're not finding primary sources about Sons of Liberty right away, you might want to try researching like letters written by John Adams that might have some information about the Sons of Liberty, or you might have to just alter your search term a little bit for finding primary sources. Yeah, so when I did the search in class, so we're getting a lot of songs, scores, and music that was written in, paying tribute to the Sons of Liberty. So that, again, you might have to get a little creative with the primary sources through the Library of Congress database. All right, so we're just going to say, yeah, this primary source is beautiful. I want to use it for my research essay. So from the Library of Congress website, you are going to click on the permalink. You probably also want to copy that link and save it in a Google Doc. And then you can print out the source. Here's the citation. That's how you find it, site record. So again, you could copy and paste that into a Google Doc. There's the link right there. Okay. So we were able to find some primary sources. We were able to save the link and save the citation in a Google Doc in our Google Drive. So, I mean, that works. It's not as streamlined as using the Gale databases and the Gale to Google Drive feature, but it works. So that was basically our lesson. Is every student found articles in Gale. I think just about every student found something possibly usable through the Library of Congress website. And then at the end of class, I asked students again, like, hey, do you have a better idea of what you want to say for your thesis statement or the subtopics that you could possibly write about? And everyone did. So that was it. That was the lesson. And I'll be meeting with Mr. Shinn's class again Friday, November 5th, where we will go through more citations. So you found your resources, you're beginning to flesh out like what you want to say in your essay. And I'll work with you on correctly using direct quotations embedded inside of your essay, as well as how to correctly paraphrase research information inside of your essay, and then working on, in MLA, we use a works cited page, but we're going to be experimenting with endnotes because that's what OIT is asking of you. So we will explore all of that on Friday, November 5th. So we'll see you then. Bye.